Hey guys, so we're going to talk a little bit about why applying online to hundreds of jobs isn't really working out for you as you try to get a job in tech sales. We're going to get right into it. So, most of you are out there, what I call smashing the apply button, applying to dozens of jobs a day, sometimes hundreds of jobs a day, and doing your very best to go out there and maybe refine your resume or provide a cover letter, but you're using AI and you think it's working to revise and refine all these resumes and cover letters, and you're applying like crazy, but you're still getting little to no results. A lot of people that go down this road are getting less than 1% response rate and even lower rate of getting an interview. So doing this over time can get super frustrating, right? And it typically leads to people just giving up on the job hunt and choosing not to pursue a career in tech sales if they don't already have a background in one. So the other thing that I see happening is as people are doing this, they're playing what I call career roulette, right? You're applying to hundreds of jobs and you're literally willing to take whatever comes your way, and you're giving up agency over your own life, over your own career. There are jobs out there that I would probably argue are dream jobs for you. You have an idea of exactly where you want to go, and you'd be a good fit in these roles, but you don't know how to pursue them with intentionality, and therefore you back up and just start applying everywhere and hoping one of these fits. And it'd be great if your dream job was a hit and they responded and gave you an interview, but that rarely happens. Okay. So let's not give up agency over our own lives. Let's take control of our lives, of our careers. Let's pursue the roles that we think we're actually a good fit for, that we would love to be in, right? It's important people realize that one of the things I think you should do in life and in work as you're pursuing a career is your career should serve your life. Your life shouldn't serve your career. The things we do for work largely aren't to reinvest back into work. It's to invest into our lives, into our families, to spend time the way we want, with who we want, with loved ones and with friends, to go travel, to do things, to create experiences and memories. We don't typically work for the sake of working, although work is valuable and it's important, and there can be a lot of purpose in the work we do. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the reason why we're doing the work. A lot of times it's because we have things outside of work, our life, that we want to benefit based on the work we're doing. And it's hard to do that when we're not doing the work we enjoy, the work we love, the work that gives us value and meaning and purpose, the work that fills us with passion. And so I encourage you, go find the jobs that you know you want to do, that you think you'd be a good fit at, and pursue those jobs with intentionality. So why do the applications not work as well as you think they should? Here's what's happening. Especially if you don't have a background in tech sales, what you're doing is you're asking your resume to sell you on your behalf. Okay? So you're essentially creating a one pager and you're emailing it off to hundreds of people, and you sit back and you wait and you say, all right, well, they're going to call me. They're going to agree to meet with me based on this one page document, sometimes two, with a cover letter. They should see that I'm a good candidate. But what they're really seeing is that you have zero experience or very little experience for the role you're applying for, because you're transitioning from a different career or from a different job type. And it's really hard for ATS systems, recruiters, and hiring managers to read a resume that doesn't have the experience they're looking for and still say this person is worth our time and we should give them an interview. Very hard, and it doesn't happen very often, because you're going up against a bunch of other people that do have experience. Running a recruiting company myself, I can tell you that when we examine resumes for roles, one of the very first things we're looking for is experience. Do you have experience doing the thing that we're trying to hire for? And if you don't, it typically means we spend little or no time reviewing your resume, okay? And so in order to get around that, in a tech sales world and in other career paths also, we need to understand the problem we're actually trying to solve or the game we're playing. The traditional job hunting process, which is go apply on LinkedIn, go apply on Indeed, maybe reach out to a recruiter and ask them to apply on your behalf, this process is not catered to benefit the job seeker. It is largely catered to benefit the employer, because the employer gets to sit back and collect a lot of data on the market, on candidates, on what types of candidates are applying, on what types of job descriptions are doing well, how they need to adjust the language in their job description, or maybe where they're posting them. And they have the opportunity to just collect all this data and all this information and then choose which candidates move to the next step, which is typically a recruiter screen or maybe an interview. So the job hunt process as it is today doesn't really favor those, especially those job seekers, but especially the job seekers that don't have the experience for the job they're applying for. Okay. So we need to think of this as a sales process or a sales problem. And the best way to do that is first recognize the problem we're actively trying to solve today as it stands is typically the problem statement is Andrew needs a job. Hire Andrew, or really what we're saying is buy Andrew, right? And here's a one-pager for you to evaluate Andrew's skills, even though my experiences don't reflect the experiences you're looking for in this role. But take a look, and if you like it, give me a call back. And that's what we're doing. Instead, what real salespeople do, and how you should think about this, is there's a customer out there who has a problem that they're trying to solve. We want to present ourselves as the product or service that we're trying to sell. So now if we think of this as a sales problem, the problem is now, how do we find this customer, aka the hiring manager and the employer, who has open headcount as a problem, but really has a problem behind that problem? There's specifics. Maybe they have a new territory they need filled with someone who has executive presence, or someone who knows how to do discovery well, or someone who knows how to break into net new accounts, or someone who knows how to expand existing accounts. There's problems behind the problem that we need to discover. And then we need to present ourselves as a solution to the problems behind the problem they're presenting. So salespeople do this all day long. For those of you pursuing account executive or full cycle sales roles, this is going to be your job. Every day, your job is going to be to go find customers who have problems, understand the problems behind their problems, and present solutions. So I'm not asking you to do anything different. I'm just asking you to apply the sales process to the job hunt process. And if we do that, it's going to force us to go about this process completely differently, right? First, we're going to start with very good public-facing research. We're going to ask ourselves great questions about the role, the company, the industry, the market, and it's going to help prepare us for the next step, which is going to be networking. But in this first step, the research phase, we need to be able to talk about the role, the company, the industry, and the market in a casual conversation. How you know you've done enough research is you can hold a 10 to 15 minute conversation about this role, this company, this industry, and this market. And more specifically, you need to be able to answer questions like, what are the problems this company solves for their customer? Who is their customer? Do they sell to marketing? Do they sell to operations? Do they sell to enterprise clients, to mid-market, to small businesses? Do they sell to the federal government? Do they sell to all of them, right? When clients do buy from this company, why do they buy, right? What do they love about this company? What is it that they offer? Is it the service? Is it the product? Is it the customer success team? Right? Is it the speed at which they move? Is it the value they get for the price they pay? What are the things that customers love about working with this company? Okay, so there's other questions, but this is just a few things you should be able to discuss based on the public-facing research you're doing. Then we move into the network phase, and we're going to go do intentional networking and ask really good questions of our future peers. So again, let's assume we're going after an account executive role. We want to reach out to account executives at the company. Let's say we're going after an AE role at Acme Software. So we want to reach out to other AEs at Acme Software. We want to hit them up on LinkedIn. We want to call them. We want to send them text messages. We want to send them emails. We want to do everything a salesperson would do to get a hold of someone to get a meeting. This is no different, right? This is also a subsection under the discovery phase where we're really trying to build champions. We're trying to validate the assumptions we have about the role, the company, the market, the industry. We're trying to validate that through discussions with these future peers, which could be account executives, customer success, solution engineers, BDRs, product folks, analysts, consultants, whoever it is that is on the team that we'll be working with. But ideally, we want to start and try and focus on talking and networking with the people that will actually be on our team, that will hold the same title that we will have. So again, let's reach out to account executives. Let's ask them really good questions. And these are questions that you couldn't possibly find answers to online. So this is where the blank spots are in our public facing research. Things like, well, I wonder what the territory is going to be. What is the history of this territory? Are there any customers there? Is it greenfield? What are the priorities of the hiring manager? This quarter, this year, is the hiring manager pounding the table every forecast call with the team, asking them to be better at discovery, CRM hygiene, right? Break into new accounts, working with the team better, understanding the solution better. Whatever it is, there are priorities this hiring manager has that they see are problems the team is facing. And that's one of the things they're thinking about as they think about this next hire is I want to make sure I bring someone on board who understands our challenges on the team, understands my priorities for the team, and can actually fall in line and execute based on what I'm trying to build. Those are the details that you should have. So we get all that information from the networking phase. We then move to the proposal phase. We still have not applied. We have not applied. So I'm asking you to do quite a bit of upfront research. Also, this is what it takes to be successful in actual tech sales account executive role. You have to do some upfront research. The next phase is proposal phase, where we're going to take all the information we learned from the public facing research, from the networking, and we're going to develop a proposal, essentially a why I'm a good fit for the role. If I'm talking to the hiring manager, Zach, it's essentially answering the question, why you should hire me for this role, or why you should consider me at a minimum for this role. So we develop that proposal, and then we're going to reach out to Zach. I like cold calling hiring managers. It shows initiative. It shows that you can do research, synthesize all that research, put it together, deliver it in a compelling, relevant message that's concise and impactful. You're going to show the hiring manager a lot more by going through this step than you would ever be able to do by telling them in an interview setting or an email, right? Let's show them what we can do as opposed to talking about what we can do. So we pick up the phone and we call Zach, the hiring manager at Acme Software. Hey, Zach, this is Andrew. You have no idea who I am, but I've talked to Emily, to Jacob, to Elizabeth on your team. I've also talked to Jared, who I know is an SDR that supports your team. I know you guys have an open role that's covering the Northeast territory, accounts 1,000 to 5,000 employees, and the challenges in the past of been breaking into net new accounts and getting up to the executive level. I think I'd be a great fit for this role. I know how I would approach the territory. I know how I would get into specific accounts that you guys have historically struggled to get into. I think I'd be a good fit, but I'd love to talk to you a little bit more later this week if you have a few minutes. Zach responds, Andrew, that sounds great. Appreciate all the research you've done. Appreciate what you know about the role already. Instead of talking later this week, have you applied? No, Zach, haven't applied. No problem. Go ahead and formally apply. I'll have my recruiter put your application to the top of the stack and we'll just get you an interview next week. Sounds great. Thanks, Zach. I'll do that right now. Awesome. Click. Hiring managers are accepting that request at a 95% rate, meaning 95% of hiring managers who receive that request from people doing this process are saying, yes, let's do it. Let's go forward. Why? Because you're doing so much research and you're so prepared that it would be silly. It would be silly for them to say no to a candidate that is this prepared, regardless of the past experience they have. And this is how people with zero sales experience are getting interviews, right? Once you're in the interview stage, we want to make sure we prepare by working with the people we did networking with, by revisiting our public-facing research that we've done, and then practicing saying out loud the answers to questions we know we're going to get. Tell me about yourself. Practice that answer over and over, saying it out loud, right? Develop more proposals, develop a go-to-market plan, develop a 30, 60, 90, even though they don't ask for it. It's a good exercise that gets your mind thinking about what it's like to be in this role. And then finally, as you prepare for the interview, prepare through this frame. Instead of preparing for an interview with Zach, imagine you already have the role and next week you don't have an interview with Zach. Next week you have a customer meeting with one of the most important customers in your new territory. Prepare for that meeting, right? Act like you already have the job and now you're preparing for a customer meeting that you have in 7 days. No one's joining you on this call. It's just you and the customer, right? So how does that change how you prepare? You're going to learn a lot more about the problems they're likely facing, the things that they're probably going to bring up, the things that they're going to care about, the things they're going to want to talk about, the things we have available in our repertoire, the solutions, the products, the services, what we're typically good at, right? It's going to change the way you think about preparing. So prepare through that frame and it'll help set you up for the interview, okay? Beyond that, you also want to be able to answer the typical interview questions you're going to get, why you're a good fit, so on and so forth. But it helps when you know the company and the customer very, very well. The final phase is follow up, task management. Make sure that you're staying on top of all this. And it's really hard to do that if you don't have a system or a platform in place to help you do that. So we've built the Pursuit app that helps you stay on top of every single task, track every discussion, every conversation, make sure you're following up with every person the way you should be, and also following up with yourself as you discover more things and need to update your research and so on. So these are some of the steps that you should take. I'm going over this at a high level. There's much more detail and there's nuances that you should be aware of, but this is what's getting people jobs inside of 4 to 6 weeks.